Welcome back to another edition of the Coach's Corner. Today we'll be previewing the Patriots versus Dolphins, a mentor versus understudy game, I guess is what you could call it, with Flores versus Belichick. What do you think about this game?
Well, when you're sitting here looking, the Patriots aren't out of playoff contention yet. They're 6-7. A lot of people like to obviously point fingers and go, "We told you Tom Brady was the guy and not Bill."
Tom's not having a great year either.
Tom's not exactly lighting it up. What are they, 8-5, I believe? So it's not like he's the reason they're there. They've got a top defense. They've got arguably the most weapons in the league outside of the Kansas City Chiefs. But really, the story with the Patriots has been all the opt-outs defensively. I mean, you've lost so many stars from that star-studded team last year that was all league, all pro.
If they were healthy, I think they would have a lot better year. If they didn't opt out, if it was a normal year, and I think that they would be in the inside, not outside looking in.
Let's not forget how many close games the Patriots have lost, and including that Cam Newton has had COVID and has recovered from that. I mean, it is a serious illness that we need to factor in when evaluating this, and he came right back as soon as he could. They almost beat the Bills. Okay, so you could really say that they're 7-6 off that fluke Cam fumble. I mean, they got tackled on the half-yard line against the Seahawks early on. What was that, week 2, week 3?
Yeah.
So what I say, 7-6. Well, there's 8-5 right there. The tone of this Patriots team is completely shifted. Just entirely, the conversation is shifted. So really, we're just trying to see where the Patriots need to improve to reload, because man, when they get those defensive people back working with Bill, all those all-pro guys, when they get another offensive weapon, may it be Kyle Pitts or a receiver through the draft. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Cam or what they're going to do there, but it doesn't really matter. I truly believe it don't matter who they have. It could be Stidham next year. Get them another offensive weapon in that defense, and it doesn't matter. But
I think that they need an offensive. I do think they need a receiver, but I think that they need a tight end. I mean, if Pitts is there in the first round, get Pitts, but then go and get another receiver, later in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely. On the flip side, we're going to look at the Dolphins here. 8-5. Tua hasn't been playing the cleanest football. I know everybody loves Tua. Tua's a media darling. We know what he did in the I'm probably going to get slaughtered for saying this too, but everybody loves to talk about the throw in the national championship game. Yes, the throw was a great play from a kid who was, getting his first action of the season. Great play. But until last week, I feel very confident saying this. Until last week against the Kansas City Chiefs, when Tua was without Devontae Parker, without Preston Williams, Mike Gesicki got hurt, and he's running with Dwayne Washington in the backfield because Myles Gaskin's out, and Lynn Bowden Jr. out of the slot as his main guys. We hadn't really seen Tua face adversity. Now he's facing a top-tier offense, which the Dolphins defense did a fantastic job making Mahomes uncomfortable. Flores did a fantastic job, making him uncomfortable, like I said. We haven't really seen Tua be uncomfortable, though. I mean, you've got weapons on the outside. You've got weapons. You got a good offensive line. You got a good defense. You got a good coach. And the coaching staff is doing all they can to help Tua. So, like I said, we haven't really seen Tua have to scratch and claw his way to wins. He's been pretty comfortable. I haven't seen anything that makes me go, is he the guy yet? Last week was the first time I saw growth where he was actually, making some plays with some guys that we hadn't heard of. Lynn Bowden Jr. was a quarterback in college, Wildcat quarterback for the Kentucky.
He was drafted by the Raiders, by the way, and then traded.
They cut him because he couldn't learn the playbook. So we know he has had difficulty picking up the speed and the pace of the game, right? The terminology. So Tua was making do, and he was keeping them competitive. And you know what? It was competitive down to the final drive. And trying to get a stop. The Chiefs actually had to steal the game on a 4th down conversion. So I felt like very good in Tua's last game because I'm like, okay, this is finally a game where I could say, okay, I finally saw something out of Tua to make me say, okay, he's a little different than just another guy running manager duty, right? So whenever I'm looking at the Patriots game, this is going to be a great test for Tua. Why? Well, Tua's not going to have Devontae Parker more than likely, and he may not have Myles Gaskin. So it's going to be him without weapons against a very defensive-minded mastermind who picks and feasts on rookie quarterbacks. I don't think there's a single – what's the stat, Coach? It's like there's not a single rookie quarterback that's beaten Belichick?
I don't believe so. I
think Drew Lock from the Broncos is the youngest quarterback to have a win on Coach Belichick at 23 years old. So he knows how to rattle young guys. So we're really going to see what Tua's made of, and that's the thing I'm looking most forward to is how does Tua handle this situation he's been thrown in the fire with, okay, you don't have weapons, you're playing with backup guys, you're playing with backup running back. Can you go out there and elevate the play of your receivers, or are you merely a game manager? And I think we'll have, with such a small sample size, we're not going to have the full answer, but we're going to have a good idea of what he's capable of from this game.
Yeah. Just pulling up the injury report here. You can't rely on the injury report for the Patriots because that's one of the minds Bill Belichick likes to play. But for the Dolphins, I mean, unless Brian Flores is that much of an understudy of Bill Belichick. I mean, the only players that didn't participate, an offensive tackle for the Patriots, but then Antonio Galloway for the Dolphins, who has potential. But the biggest thing I'm looking at with this injury report is who is going to tote the rock for the Dolphins. And I say that because Bill Belichick's great at exposing other teams' flaws. Sean McVay really exposed the New England's flaws this year, and it could very well be because, as we mentioned, all those guys opted out, and you could argue on one side of it, you're going to have a bunch of the old-timers saying, well, that's football. It's just as good as injuries, essentially, and, they're part of football. Well, this year, opt-outs are. It's 2020. But it matters. I mean, it seriously matters. But, I mean, the Rams ran the ball for 186 yards on the ground. And, they weren't very efficient on third down, though, which is more of a credit to, I think, Bill Belichick and that defense. 3 of 14 on third down. That's not very good. But the problem is, they were 2 for 2 on fourth down. But, I mean, that's the Rams. I think the Rams are in a completely different league right now than the Dolphins. I think that the Dolphins would like to be Rams-esque in the way that they set their offense up, running the football and then being able to use play-action pass with their young quarterback. But also, we've talked about it before, too, sprint-out passes, just being able to move your pocket, which also buys receivers time to get downfield. I would – as much as I want to say, just on paper looking at this, I think the Dolphins should win. You just never know with New England, because if they really wanted to throw this thing in and tank, they would have done it a long time ago. I think Bill Belichick's way too prideful to do that, especially losing to one of his former assistants. I think that's a thing. It's a statistic that I think Matt Patricia did it in his first or second year with the Lions, but not very many people have been able to do it. I think Eric Mangini might have done it once or twice.
Josh McDaniels with the Broncos.
Yeah, he was able to, but it's not all. I mean, more times than not, Bill Belichick pulls it off, and
right.
Also, I just think that the biggest thing is a rookie quarterback. I love Tua. I mean, as a person, but also, fellow left-handed quarterback. So, I don't know. Who are you picking? Like, if you had to pick right now, who do you honestly think would win this?
I'm picking the Patriots. I think that I know Cam hasn't exactly been lights out.
But he's done enough to win, 6 games?
He's done enough to win, and also, like I just said, we can make the argument right now and make a serious argument. Instead of 6 and 7, they're sitting at 8 and 5.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and actually, I could go a step further. They had the Broncos game locked up, but mistakes at near the end of the game after picking off Drew Lock cost them that. So they could be 9-4.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't. It's everybody's pointing and saying that this is a bad Patriots team. They're bad by no means. It's just you look at the amount of change they've suffered. It's not an excuse, but
it's the lack of experience. If they had their veteran players that are experienced, you're right. They very well could be a 9-1 team.
Exactly. So I just think that Bill has the number on young quarterbacks. I think he's going to know exactly how to expose Tua. I think he's going to make him uncomfortable enough. I've talked about it before. We haven't exactly seen Tua in too many uncomfortable situations in his entire career, and when we have, he hasn't won. I'm not saying it won't be a competitive game. I just see the Patriots eking it out. I think Cam Newton. This is a big statement game for Cam Newton to come out and say, you know, Cam Newton's a guy that's got burner Twitter accounts, and he's looking to see what you say. He always knows what the media has to say, so I definitely believe this is a game where I think they let Cam run on the Dolphins the same way he did earlier in the year in Week 1 when he had 2 rushing touchdowns, because they know it's an option that they can't stop.
Mm-hmm. All right, let us know what you think. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notification bells, and check out other great network from the East West Football Network. Link is in the description. Thank you.